Hello, this is Neil from MyPaintGirls.com, and we're continuing on part 3 on how to draw hair the Marvel style. Now this looks kind of sloppy, or it looks really sloppy actually, but it's just a quick sketch so I know where everything is at. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm going to want to ink it so it looks nice and neat. Now I have all these hairs here. I'm going to go ahead and erase some that I want overlapping. So I want this hair overlapping that one, and since I want the hair overlapping that one, I erase like that. I want that hair overlapping that one. And since that's more in the background, I kind of want to show that it's overlapping. I'm going to erase that line but leave that line there. And then this hair is going to be overlapping like that, and even down here. But I'm going to erase that too. That way it kind of has that Marvel look. And let's see here. I'll have those both make one clump. All this make one clump. And I'll have that make one clump partly, but then I want that hair to be like that. So you just have to decide, the parts that overlap and that don't to achieve the look you want. And so I'm thinking that looks cool. And what I might do now is on another layer behind it, so I don't screw it up, have some hair coming underneath here, some bigger clumps. So I want like this kind of big clump of hair like this, and it's going to kind of go like that, and then like so. That way I know that I would be actually drawing that, and so I need to just erase it where, oh, I got to be on the right layer. Erase it wherever I know that these hairs are in front, so I just want to erase that clump of hair everywhere I just drew it. That doesn't come through here. Something like so. So there you go. And so when I color, I would actually color behind that hair. I could also just do it in coloring, I can just, but I want to know I have that shape back there. So I would color behind all of that. So her skin's not going to be behind these hairs, but actual hair color is going to be behind there. And I think that's important. So what I'm going to do now is the same thing you saw me do here, I'm going to do up here and over here. But first, let's go up here then. And so what you want to do is to add volume to hair is you have lines that come out like that. So they come up and then back. And when you have lines that come up and then back, and typically when Marvel does hair like this, they have little strands like that with thinner lines and then some thick lines, and then like a line like that. Notice that that line kind of overlapped part way, kind of have some bumps back there to show that there's hair, and then kind of go like that. That'd be like a thinner hair. You want to add some dark lines as well. So let's say right here I can have a dark line, and it's going to kind of come up like so, but it's going to be dark. Now you're not going to be able to see some of this. I know that's going to be a light line because I can see it's light. So a lot of this I'm going to do when I'm inking, but and I'll show that process as well. Sometimes you can have just like little things like that, and then you kind of darken it in, and that shows like that where the scalp would be, and you would actually do that too in comic books sometimes. Notice I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to start thick and then go thin over here a few times. So when drawing hair from, actually that's not enough volume, so to add more volume on this part here I need to kind of come up and then like this. I'm going to have it thick, thin. So that's another cool little trick, is having a couple thick lines like that where they start thick on the outer part and then come thin over here, and then some of them start thick and thin and thick again like that. So just a few variations like that and you have some cool top of your head. I'm going to start with this strand of hair since I know it's coming in the front, and kind of want that whole chunk of hair. It's going to kind of come, it's going to be a little bit different than what's there because I wanted to show something cool. Sometimes you'll notice that Marvel do this kind of thing where they have that kind of shape at the end for the hair, like so. And I know that I'm going to erase a lot of this. I don't need it. I'm going to link these two together for now since I want to be able to erase all in one layer easier. I want all that to clump together. I was going to have that's not, it's a little bit too thin. Maybe I'll make it like that so I can show it overlapping. Then I know that I had some of this already under, this under stuff done, so I'm going to have that kind of shape, and then maybe break up that by having another shape like that. And so at this stage here, I'm not so much following the photograph anymore, not for everything. I'm kind of just using some of the, techniques that I've picked up by just looking at and imagining how the comic book artist might do it in the comic books. That is how the Marvel artist might do it. I want that whole hair overlapping, and so I want both lines to be there underneath that one. And then, again, different ways they might break up like a strand like this is they might have one strand that comes down and through like this to show that I'm kind of following the photo here, and kind of have it come up like that. And so I want that strand there, I want that one over it like that. And then let's say they'll have another strand that kind of comes, it's not overlapping anything, but it's inside that. You have these, first you break up in the bigger areas, right, like I've been doing. So I break it up in these bigger areas, these big white chunks, and then I decide how I'm going to break up those big white chunks, or if I'm going to break them up at all. This white chunk I might break up a little bit just by having, this kind of dark line like so, and then maybe another line, and I might have one line kind of crossing over like that. You notice it starts thin and gets thick over here. So it's thin over there and it gets thick on this side, like that. And then, it might actually have a hair that comes, that hair right here, that comes all the way over. And so after you have your thick clumps in there, you draw little thin strands of hair. Like I said, you can start by erasing first and then draw the lines either way, or draw the lines first then erase. So now that hair is coming over. It's like a wild hair. It's kind of breaking up some of the white space. So there's different ways to break up the white space. So this white space I broke up with having hairs inside of it, and I could actually have maybe another line there. You don't want to have too many lines inside the hair though, otherwise, like I said, it gets it all blends together, especially when the image is really small. Then it all just kind of looks muddy and just looks like a blob, and you don't want blobs. So I'm going to have a few of these hairs back here where you can kind of see them overlapping back there, like so. And then since that's in the background, I'm just going to have it all of those hairs kind of overlapping and meeting together, like so. And then I'll when I ink with Illustrator, I'll pay more attention to all that. Right. Anyway, all this up here, these hairs aren't going to be there. I want to finish this. If I don't finish this in time, before I run out of time, then I'm just going to go straight into the inking next video. So in other words, I'll do this off video when I don't finish. Notice I have that strand, then I add this one line within it like that, just to kind of break up that white area. So again, that's what you're doing. You have these big chunks of white area, then you figure out, well, how am I going to break it up? You want to break it up with realistic hairs, but you also want coolness. So like those two hairs kind of go together, and then you can have one that splits off and comes this way. And so drawing two hairs like that together is a cool way. And then I'm going to have that one kind of come at a slightly different angle than those ones and meet up together, so you have these V's. And so you're going to have a lot of that. So I want this big chunk of hair first. Man, I'm almost out of time. Hairs could be time consuming, especially when you're trying to explain everything as you're working. Much easier just to just do it, but I need to explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So that hair is going to come over, add some neatness and variety, and then I'll have another hair that comes underneath that one and then kind of breaks all this up. Then I want a few strands showing the curvature of this here, so that it looks like it's coming out. Another thing you can do that sometimes done, but Marvel usually doesn't do it that often, is you can have like those big black and white areas where it's all chunked in like that, and it's kind of like wavy like that. That's usually done on black hair, not lighter hair, and we're working with lighter hair here. So this is pretty much, now I'm just kind of doing the same things I just showed you how to do, and so there's no reason, I guess, really to make another video just to finish up this part. I'll just go ahead and finish it up off camera, doing the exact same things I just been doing this whole time. Right, so thank you for watching. Please tune in for the next part, which I'll show how to ink this. I'll be using Illustrator, but you can really ink it with brush or on paper, or you can do it with Photoshop if you're good with inking with Photoshop. I don't like inking with Photoshop. Or you can ink with Painter. I think Painter is much easier to ink with than Photoshop. You can also use Manga Studio or like the Sai program. Those are good for inking too. What's really good is I'm probably going to start using a program that allows me, like Flash, allows me to draw in vector, get nice smooth lines, but also erase like I'm working with pixel. I think Flash still does that. Anyway, thanks for watching.